Origins of the Japanese flag. Long, long time ago, there were some digging tools um, that there were some wheels. They were hardened steel wheels, and or hardened steel, and they're used for excavating, cultivating, and basically just moving ground. Massive in steel and basically like big. They're basically like a round circle, a shaft, and then a big steel arch like this that would go and just move dirt. And it was on a big chain or gear mechanism. I forget exactly. It was so long ago. But where the Japanese flag actually originated from was a digging implement that looked something like this, or like this really. You use curved steel and basically like hand thing, only made out of solid steel. Some we did some tests where some of them were hardened steel, like big things that would just on a big pivot. Look kind of like the scooping machines that do coal nowadays, but it's basically like a big hardened steel thing that would go and basically dig. Didn't do all that. Mostly soft ground or softish ground, mildly hard clay, depending on how fast it turned and all that other stuff. There were also variants where they were steel riveted things. Basically big arms and steel channels, basically to scoop the ground pretty much. And they would scoop in or scoop like this. Basically, they look like this right here. And one of the reasons why the Japanese flag is that way is because of the great big huge steel digging tools that were around in the old ancient days. Huge wheels like the size of I don't know, they were huge. Anyway, Japan had some of the big ones. They look kind of like this, and they kind of incorporated it into their flag. This would have been long, long ago, like like year 38 or something like that. They were a great big steel. This would have been made out of solid steel, and there would have been like two of these, and then maybe something in between. And basically, it's a big steel scooping implement, huge. Um, there were other variants like this right here, which were hardened metal with little connecting steel ribs for digging through harder stuff. They worked all right. It was a long, long time ago, and I forget exactly the details of it. There should be some pictures of some of them because there should be pictures of everything from year 38 because they made some what's called, it seems like only the wagon wheel stuff is out there, but along with those wagons there were some big huge steel steam driven machines that were the size of trains, in fact two trains even. Sometimes they had to lay down double rail to get these things in there, and then they would dig at the face of a mountain or whatever. They were huge, mammoth things. That had curved wheels, like a round wheel like this which would have two or three tabs, and this would be made out of a hardened steel rod or a hardened steel beam. And there was some tests like that, and Japan had some of the big ones too. Other steel things like this. It's hard to describe really. I mean, I've seen pictures of them. I designed them, built them, and it would have been somewhere around year 7 to year 38, and basically provide what were the origins of the Japanese flag. What that actually is that's both windmills and water wheels, and also a big steel digging tool, which was widely used in Japan long, long, long ago, like before Mitsubishi, before Japan itself actually goes back. It actually starts out in China somewhere, or somewhere in connection with that. There were some wooden ones, of course, but they they could only till light ground. And then there were the big ones, which were what's called. That was back in the day when we had wooden steam vehicles, which could do light digging or digging in soft soil pretty well, but they couldn't do. And there were oak wood digging machines which could dig in light stuff but could not dig rock. Rock had to be done by hand, and the Japanese had lots of people that were doing all the hand chisel stuff and all the digging in hand, and it was very backbreaking, grueling work, and that's why I say China and Japan, when it comes to organization and teamwork, they really, 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 I mean, some of the things they did were awe-inspiring. 5,000 people working in unison, or 15,000 people working in unison, working together. Truly monumental tasks that were ridiculous to do. You know, just like things that I didn't think it was possible, but they they proved me wrong. Like I said, like almost choreographed digging. Greeks did it, and other people did it, but not quite to the order that the Japanese could literally take 5,000 stones, and each person would toss a stone to the next person, and they would be doing this in unison. That kind of just like ridiculous choreograph of working, where it's like, wow, you know, it was inspiring to the rest of the world. In fact, like I said, the Chinese, they inspired the whole world. There was a time. Anyway, though, but one of my digging tools actually was what their flag is based on. Basically, like a big, huge wooden digging tool that they used a lot in Japan and all over China, to dig soft ground with, and then they would use manual labor to do all the hard stuff. Just monumentally huge tasks. Very good people, like I say, and it served to be the basis of their flag, which was one of my big digging machines, which I think I actually gave them. I was like, yeah, well, whatever, here you go. You know, yeah, I think I had used it somewhere else as a test, and then I just gave it to them or something because they needed it to do rice farming and stuff. And I was like, well, you know, I'm done with it. So and I had a better one. I think I was going from wood to steel, so I was giving away all my old wood things which I had needed for doing certain projects, and then I was done with them. So anyway, and so I just gave it to them, and then they used it, and they saw how cool it was, and then they started building their own, and they started building bigger and stuff, and doing all kinds of other things. And then I was leading them basically because, you know, I had been the one that helped elevate them or something like that. I don't know. I don't really remember exactly. It's kind of confusing and complex and goes way back before there was a China, before there was a Japan, back into the old days, and almost before written or recorded history.